Every hike that I do that has bridges and trestles, I feel the same way in a spot like this, where I'm all of a sudden excited and hopeful and happy because just coming up is a trestle. I know there is, as I've been here before, but the clues are there too. Just the sky opening up and indicating that we're into an open area on the edge of the cliff. So this will be the mile 13.7 trestle, and then immediately after it is its little buddy, the 13.8 trestle. I'm absolutely soaked from walking through all of the overgrowth. It's all wet from the rain and dew, and that's just going to be what I deal with all day long. But it's worth it for scenes like this at this trestle with lots of fog on the lake. The fog is nice. The trestle is wet and weathered and worn out. The twin trestles at milepost 13.7 and 13.8 likely burned during the first day of the Wesley Ridge wildfire. So that's July 31st, 2025. I say that because the wildfire started nearby, probably closer to the lake shore. The BC Wildfire Service has described some trestles as being lost, and my knowledge of the fire map and the trestles in the area had me conclude that these twin trestles are among those lost. Now, my episode 1 video in this series goes into more detail on that analysis and conclusion. My first visit was on April 28th, 2019, and that's when I probably took the most time getting every possible photo angle, it seems, on my afternoon return leg of my hike. It was all new to me. Oh, and please ignore me stepping on all those rail tops. I know better now. But now looking back, there's something special about the first time that I saw this trestle at mile 13.7 at 4:54 a.m. on that morning. The red circle is the location of the twin trestles at mile 13.7 and 13.8 on the eastern part of Cameron Lake, North Shore. A quick note about time. In this series of videos, I refer to 3 different eras. First era is when trains were running on this railway, so before early 2002. The second era is when I was doing my hikes there, so between 2019 and March 2025, and this is the main focus of this video series. And the third era is the current evolving unknown post-fire reality, when the old routes of people hiking Wesley Ridge and me hiking the railway aren't possible and the area is unsafe. I remember the first time I saw it, 6 years ago. It was a spring hike, and I came in the dawn darkness. It's deteriorated since then. The deck, the ties are just disintegrating, and one of the fire barrel platforms on the right side fell or was pushed. But here's an idea of how these trestles work. First of all, 4 rails. The inner set is a guard rail. It's called the Jordan rail, and that is so that if a rail car derails while it's on this trestle, the wheels will get caught by the middle set of rails and it'll prevent it from falling off the structure. You'll see these on almost every railway bridge and trestle. So the structure down below is timber frame. Hard to see here. It's a series of timber frame bents. That's what we call the sections. And then lying parallel with the rails are big, thick stringer beams, and you can see them here. And then on top of the stringer beams, crossways, are placed the big bridge timber ties. And that's what's disintegrating. And then on top of that is what the rails are hammered onto. So, you walk over top of the thick stringer beams. And like right here. There's my boots. You can see how thick the beam is there. And that's how you handle the areas where the ties are all disintegrating. You walk on top of what's stronger below. And you still be careful because of just balance. And occasionally you come here to this side because there's a photo opportunity. Like here. This is a good time to mention the impact of the 2025 Wesley Ridge wildfire, which includes the loss of some of the railway trestles above the lake. My nuanced opinion is that the trestle's fate was actually lost around 9 years before this recent fire, after 2016 or so. 2016 was roughly when authorized maintenance access by volunteer groups was ended, and so the obstacles from nature's constant pushback started to accumulate unchecked again. In my view of the history, the June 2016 Narcoa Speeder Tour, as the last authorized use of that part of the Port Alberni subdivision, seems to mark the end of that era when the railway operator was able to access the remote sections of the railway. Eventually, the section of railway above Cameron Lake, roughly between mileposts 13 and 18, which includes the 4 Lakeview trestles and 2 other trestles west of the lake, well, this section of the railway was isolated at both ends by unchecked accumulated physical obstacles on the railway, obstacles that would include the deteriorated trestles themselves. The inaccessibility of this section of railway then allowed further obstacles to build up and add to the list of unresolved barriers, a compounding problem with no end. Let's check it out and see if it creaks. Okay, walk my way over. I've got a thing for mileposts, but I also have a thing for fire barrel platforms on a trestle, because they're indicators of how far gone an old trestle is. It's an extension of these ties here, and they're not in great shape. Now the one at the west end has been relatively unchanged for the 12 visits that I've made here over the years. But the east one, well, it fell sometime between my March 2020 visit and October 2020 visit. This is 1, 2, and 3 long ties have snapped. Well, at least it didn't have far to fall. I call this photo composition my trestle tree photo, and I think I took one almost every time that I visited here. I set up very close to where the east fire barrel platform had been, and it was a favorite composition place for me. But now, as I look at this scene, I'm thinking of what Terry, a person who commented on one of my other videos recently, said about this trestle's fate after safely viewing it recently through binoculars from a boat in the lake. He said, "Sadly, the trestle did burn. The first one, you can see a span of rail hanging with nothing below." I'll show you where I am. Tripod resting here, and my feet on the stringer. I'm in an area where the ties aren't so good. Lots of gaps here. Okay, I pack my tripod in my hand, Other hand holds my camera for a video. Now let's carefully walk. Ignore what I said earlier about always being on top of the stringers. It's all about your own comfort level, which is informed by your own level of experience. And at the end of this trestle, it's pretty poor up top with the ties, but really easy to see the stringer beam right there. Pretty solid again. That's where my feet are. Here's the little bit of land between these two trestles. And the look back. Nice. Okay, here comes the second one. Very short, similar, not very good shape. Walk above the stringers. This is mile 13.8. Yeah, there's problems. Just a sketchy old trestle. Again, here's how I'm walking. For me, this is good. Alright, back to the ground. Here come the twin trestles. So, two of them separated by a small bit of land. Okay, mile 13.8 trestle. Little guy here. I'm going to try to go straight down the middle. Oh, the lake sure is beautiful beside me. And the trestle is a lot of fun. I am in the shadows. Alright, and now the twin of the mile 13.7 trestle awaits. Yay! Let's just see what it looks like from over here. Hard to see with the shadows. That's why I love being here at dawn. Okay, let's continue on. Eastward. back into the shadows. Here's an assortment of scenes of looking down through gaps in the deck. So here's a nice gap in the middle of the trestle. So again, simple. You walk on the stringer. Gives you an idea of the thickness of the stringer beams. Again, you can see that below me is the thick stringer beam. Oh yeah, that's nice. Let me show you what the stringers are like. Look how thick that is. Not just thick, it's pretty wide. And it's the same thing I'm standing on right here. Just goes all the way through there. Yeah, gives you an idea. This one's interesting because right there you can see the rock outcropping right through the trestle. I like my reactions when I arrive at the trestles, either inbound or outbound. It's good to be back. It's great to be out here at dawn. I love sketchy trestles that I know, like this one. Here are the Trestle twins, the twins of Decay. Good to see you again, old friend. And here are the twin trestles of terror. And goodbyes are weird because I guess you never really know if it's going to be your last time seeing it. Okay, till next time, mile 13.7 trestle. Okay, bye-bye Trestle 13.7 and mile 13.8 trestle behind it. I'll see you next spring, I suppose. Okay, until I see this one again. October, probably. Thanks for watching this episode in my Cameron Lake Trestles series. I'm producing a series of YouTube videos to share my photo and video memories of the Cameron Lake Railway trestles from my various visits between 2019 and 2025. Episode 1 has already been uploaded to my channel, and that's where I go through the context, the history, and most importantly, the wildfire in summer 2025 and the status of the trestles. Yeah, I hate the broom. Hey Mike, why don't you come here in the summertime? Well, do you like picking ticks out of your armpits and crotch? I've arrived at the first trestle. 13.7 is the milepost. There's the moon and Mars below it. Time to cross in the dark. Looking back, mile 13.7, looking back eastward, and turning to the west, and that's mile 13.8 trestle, very short one, and then a quick walk to the mile 14 trestle.